Tonight, questions over the government's handling of national under former Minister Kevin Rudd.
I feel that we've packed a lifetime into the last few years. I have many memories that make me smile and absolutely no regrets.
The final farewell to Private Nathan Bewes, the 17th Australian soldier to be killed in Afghanistan. A Victorian jury finds a man guilty of deliberately killing his sons by driving them into a dam. And in Australia looks to make up lost ground in the second test against Pakistan. Live across Australia, you're watching ABC News 24. Hello, I'm Juanita Phillips. We begin in Canberra, where there are questions tonight over whether Kevin Rudd should be given a cabinet position after revelations his chief of staff would sometimes stand in for him at national security meetings. So, for the latest, let's go to political editor Chris Uhlmann in Canberra. Chris, what's been the response to your story tonight?
Is leading the charge, of course, as you would imagine, an election campaign. It is Julie Bishop, who is the deputy leader of the opposition, who says that this shows that the government had a casual disregard.
Well, the nation's leaders took a break from the election campaign today to honour the 17th Australian soldier to die in Afghanistan. Julia Gillard and Tony Abbott stood side by side. A Victorian man has been found guilty for a second time of murdering his 3 children by drowning them in a dam. 41-year-old Robert Farquharson drove into a dam in the state's southwest on Father's Day 2005. His 3 sons, aged 2, 7 and 10, died at the scene. The retrial lasted 11 weeks and it took the jury 3 days to reach a verdict. Sarah Farnsworth was in court to hear the verdict. The trial of a South Australian construction worker charged with breaching federal industrial laws has been adjourned for 2 months. Fiji's military leader says his relationship with the Australian government is very strained and getting worse. In a rare one-on-one interview, Frank Bainimarama told the ABC he's been unfairly condemned for expelling a second Australian diplomat. He also defended Fiji's emergency laws, which are still in place nearly 4 years since his coup. Philippa McDonald has this report from Nuttndola. Foreign ministers from the Association of Southeast Asian Nations have held talks in Vietnam ahead of an official meeting tomorrow. Chad is refusing to detain the visiting Sudanese president despite a warrant for his arrest by the International Criminal Court. The union representing Telstra employees has welcomed the company's plans to get rid of more than 300 senior managers. Telstra has already retrenched 30 senior executives, with plans to lay off another 300 managers in coming weeks. Concern about the global economy is starting to build again, with the chief of the US Central Bank describing the future as unusually uncertain. Ben Bernanke gave his downbeat assessment as tough new banking regulations were signed into law by President Barack Obama. His comments will no doubt be of interest to the Reserve Bank. It's keeping a close eye on the situation overseas, especially in Europe, ahead of its next meeting on interest rates. Taking a look at the markets now, and Australian shares finished the day in the red. The All Ordinaries closed down 34 points. The ASX 200 was down 38 points. On the Asian markets, Japan's Nikkei also finished the session lower, but the Hang Seng stayed strong, closing up more than 100 points. And a quick check of the currencies. The Australian dollar is buying around 88 US cents, 77 yen and 58 pence. A Victorian mining company is planning a takeover of the owner of the Beaconsfield mine in Tasmania that collapsed 4 years ago. Budget airline Jetstar says air traffic control into Tasmania is adequate. It was created just 6 years ago by an American university student. Now Facebook has registered 500 million users. In the past month alone, it's added 100 million users and knocked off many of its competitors.
It's an exciting milestone for the Facebook community and for all of you who have helped spread Facebook around the world.
But not everyone's celebrating. Police have warned about the potential dangers of social networking sites because of safety and privacy concerns. Now the sporting headlines with Amanda Shalala, and Australia is fighting back in the cricket.
Just a mini fight back though, Juanita. The Aussies have made a couple of early breakthroughs on day 2 of the second test against Pakistan at Headingley. Pakistan's 5 for 218 just after lunch in reply to Australia's horror first innings total of 88. Test cricket's greatest ever wicket taker, Muttiah Muralidharan, has capped off an incredible career by claiming his 800th scalp in Sri Lanka's match against India. And Cronulla Sharks captain Trent Barrett has confirmed he'll retire from rugby league. That'll be at the end of the NRL season.
There's new hope for tens of thousands of Australians who suffer from celiac disease. Researchers have worked out exactly what makes gluten toxic to celiac sufferers, and they say a treatment for it is not far away. As Kirsten Vaness reports, it promises to free them from restrictive gluten-free diets. Scientists say they've discovered what could be the biggest star ever seen. It's part of a cluster of huge stars in a neighbouring galaxy.
A high-pressure system remains the dominant feature over Australia at the moment and is responsible for very cold conditions, particularly through the southeastern inland, the inland of New South Wales, and also stretching through southern Queensland. In fact, we're expecting to see more widespread frost across those areas. That's thanks to clear skies at night and relatively cold temperatures during the day, dropping rapidly under those clear skies. But we've also got strong winds there along the New South Wales coast, up along parts of Queensland, and then spreading across all the northern districts. And that's why we're seeing extreme fire dangers across much of the Northern Territory and total fire bans through most of the week around Darwin. And this synoptic pattern basically isn't changing, and we're going to see very little change over the next couple of days. So that means more strong winds through the north, more fire dangers likely, and these showers along the coastal fringe of the east are also expected to continue. The capital cities, only looking at a few showers for Sydney and Brisbane. Much of the south will be dry, although Melbourne can expect to see just an isolated shower, but they should contract to just the coastal areas by the afternoon. And once again, we're looking at dangerous fire weather for Darwin. Now, Saturday sees little change with this high pressure system, very slow moving. It's situated pretty much over the top of Adelaide. So in South Australia, winds will be relatively light. And still got southerlies along the New South Wales and Queensland coast, so that means some more showers there, particularly about the coastal fringe. They won't proceed very far inland. We'll also see widespread frost in the morning and frost through Western Australia, but during the day very pleasant. We've got winds turning northerly, so it's drawing some of the warm air down from the territory, and that's going to see daytime temperatures fairly pleasant across that southwestern corner of the state. Still got strong winds across the northern areas though, and those southerlies maintaining showers along much of the east coast. But at this point in time, none of the models are picking any significant rainfall at this stage, and just an isolated shower there on the way for Hobart. So it looks as though the weekend's still set to be wet through the east, but much of the remainder of the country relatively dry.
Graham Creed there with the weather. Adelaide zookeepers today played a game of patience with an escaped macaw after it refused to come down from a tall tree. And that is ABC News to the Minute. I'm Juanita Phillips. Newsline with Jim Middleton from Shanghai is next.